This morning, we're hearing from the father and son at the center of that controversy that played out in the stands during the game and has since gone viral.
Fans are talking about, is this fan interaction seen everywhere?
This was bananas.
We need to talk about this viral video. This was during the Phillies game against the Marlins.
So Harrison Bader hit a home run. You can see the bounced and landed and a random chair in the stands. Now look at this argument right here. Now she just grabbed it and went and walked.
Crazy week for clowns making absolute fools of themselves at sporting events in the stands.
Phillies versus Marlins game last night when a home run ball, which was caught by a father, got stolen by a Karen, a psychotic old aging boomer lady, threw a fit and stole a young child's ball.
A Karen decided it was a good idea to steal a home run ball from a little boy.
Sometimes you need that reset. Oh.
And Bader just unloads on this one, deep left field, and that one is gone as Bader.
Presumably this is a father and his wife and their children, and some psycho woman, literal psychotic Karen. We're still working on exactly who this is, but whenever we find out, we'll be sure to tell you, decided to ruin this young man's night by stealing his baseball.
You know, there was hundreds of people, you know, just staring. And like I said, she was very, very, very close. And I'm dad of the family, so I didn't want to do something I'd regret, and that was the choice I made, is to just hand the ball back and tell her go away. It was the right thing. We just wanted her to go away.
Karen haircut, look at her screaming, yelling at people, losing her effing mind. She should be banned from all Phillies sporting events. She should be banned from polite society. I'll be happy once we identify who she is. You psycho broad.
What is going on?
So the father of the boy has finally spoken, and Phillies Karen just got steamrolled by reality. For days, this shrieking disaster tried to spin the story her way, screeching about how the ball was hers, inventing fantasies about being robbed in broad daylight, waving her arms like she was directing invisible traffic. But now, the man who was actually there, the one who caught the ball and handed it to his son, has broken his silence. And let me tell you, his words didn't just poke holes in her story, they detonated it. He described it simply, clearly, with the kind of blunt truth that Karen's opera-level shrieking could never cover up.
As soon as it cracked off the bat, it was starting to head our way a little bit, so I walked to my right, walked to my right, and I thought, oh crap, it's coming. And I walked down a couple seats, and it fell and kind of bobbled between the two armrests, and I picked it up, and as I was pulling away, two other hands came, and I mean, I didn't really care at that point. I just walked away and held the ball up high and put it in Lincoln's glove, and was hoping he'd be on the Megatron TV or whatever, and then she showed up.
I caught it, I gave it to my son. She never touched it. That's it. Case closed. The lie died in seconds. And the internet, which had been waiting like a bloodthirsty audience outside the Coliseum, absolutely erupted. Because when you set your entire defense on a foundation of delusion and the actual father comes out and says, nah, that never happened, you don't just lose. You become a public clown act. Baseball is supposed to be pure, a child catching a foul ball. That's as wholesome as it gets. Fathers dream of that moment, passing down a piece of the game, creating a memory their kid will never forget. But Phillies Karen, she didn't just ruin it, she bulldozed it. The father recalled how it went down. The ball came into the stands, he caught it cleanly, turned, and handed it to his boy. Done. A perfect cinematic little slice of joy. But then, like a villain in a cartoon, here comes Karen, screeching, finger-pointing, storming toward them like she was on a mission from the entitlement gods. She wasn't there to celebrate, she was there to take. And here's where it gets extra absurd. When the father tried to calm things down, she doubled down, barking at him like he had committed a felony. Her body language, less innocent fan and more possessed gremlin at 3 a.m. The contradiction couldn't be clearer. Innocence versus entitlement. The child's wide-eyed excitement versus a woman acting like she'd been cheated out of a will reading. When the father finally broke his silence, it wasn't with rage. It was with cold, unshakable clarity. He said he was stunned, not by losing the ball, but by the sheer shamelessness of an adult screaming at a kid over a souvenir. He described the moment in haunting detail, his son's face falling as Karen clutched the ball, cackling like she had just won a courtroom verdict. And that single image, a boy's crushed expression, became the scandal's emotional center.
I didn't even see her walk up. And as she reached for my arm, she just yelled in my ear, "That's my ball!" Like super loud. I jumped out of my skin. And I was like, why are you here? Go away. And then she's like, "That's my ball. You stole it out of those are from our seats." And I said, "There was nobody in that seat." She said, "That's from where we were sitting." And she just went on and on.
Memes are funny, clips are wild, but when the father described how his son felt, that's when the story stopped being silly and became scandalous. Karen didn't just snatch a baseball. She snatched joy out of a child's hands, and the world saw it. Let's talk about Karen's version of events, shall we? According to her, she had the ball, she owned it, and then, like some movie villain, the father ripped it right out of her hands. Sounds dramatic, right? Almost believable, until you actually watch the footage. Slow motion replays showed the truth. She never had control. At best, she brushed it like someone fumbling for their phone in a couch cushion. At worst, she made up the whole ripped-away fantasy to justify stealing from a child. And when the father came forward and flat out said, she never touched it, that was it. Closed curtains. Done. Security ushers backed him up. Stadium insiders confirmed he got it off the floor clean. Karen's testimony didn't collapse. It evaporated. Here's where karma walked in with steel-toed boots. While Karen paraded around with her cursed little baseball like it was Excalibur, the Phillies staff stepped up. They didn't just comfort the boy, they handed him something better, a signed bat. That wasn't just a gift. That was the team publicly choosing sides. The father said it best. It was bittersweet. His son got something priceless, but the magic of that moment had been stolen. Karen walked away with a baseball contaminated with shame, while the boy walked away with dignity, respect, and the backing of an entire major league franchise.
Here's the happy part. Here's the happy ending for this kid. The Phillies staff handled this perfectly. They took the boy and the dad and the family all the way down into the stadium, and they ended up getting a signed bat from Harrison Batter. This is the guy who hit the home run ball. They got to meet him. This is like way better than getting the home run ball. They got to meet him. They got his bat, right? They got the cool photographs. Well done, Phillies. Way to go. Then also the Marlins. They were playing at the Marlins. The staff gave him a bunch of swag. Well done. Why people like baseball. Both teams handling this perfectly.
Couple days. Oh, okay.
Oh, it's his birthday in a couple days. Okay. And you had to deal with this absolute raging psycho Karen, this poor kid. Anyway, I still feel bad for the kid that he still had to witness that. Anyway, look at this. His name is Lincoln, and his birthday is this weekend, and he got a signed bat, and his family got to meet him afterwards. So here's the kid. A nice little kid, like it's just like a little kid. I don't know, what is he, 8 years old? And then he gets a signature, and he gets to meet the all-star player. And there you go. What a nice way to turn a bad thing into good.
One fan summed it up perfectly. That ball is radioactive. Every time she shows it, people will laugh, and laugh they did. This is where the internet sharpened its knives. With the father's words out, the meme machine went berserk. TikTok edits set her screeches to horror movie scores. Psycho violins, the Exorcist theme, you name it. Twitter renamed her Philly Dementor. Reddit described her as a banshee at a yard sale. And here's the brutal part. Philly fans are notorious. They've booed Santa Claus, cheered injuries, thrown batteries, but even they couldn't defend her. One local sports blogger put it bluntly: Philly fans love chaos, but they don't love clowns. And this woman, she's a whole circus.
I don't even remember what she said. It was, a lot of eyes on us by that time, and the ball was already in his glove, and she just wouldn't stop. And I'm literally leaning back as she's in my face, yelling and yelling and yelling, and I pretty much just wanted her to go away, and because I had a fork in the road, either do something I was probably going to regret, or be dad and show him how to de-escalate the situation. So that's where I went. That was what we were there for. We were there to get a home run ball. So I thought I had accomplished this great thing, and putting in his glove meant a lot. And she was just so adamant and loud and yelling and persistent, and I just didn't want to deal with it anymore.
The father's testimony only fueled it further. His calm, dignified words made her meltdown look even more cartoonish. She wasn't just a Karen anymore, she was the Karen. The dad didn't just tell the truth. He left everyone with a warning. He said no child should ever have their innocence stolen by an adult's greed, that sports are about unity, joy, and community, not selfish tantrums. His message resonated because it was bigger than one baseball. It was about drawing a line. He said his son might always remember being screamed at by an adult in the stands, but he'll also remember the kindness of the Phillies players who stepped in. That contrast, Karen's cruelty versus the team's decency, was a reminder of what sports should represent, and the internet crowned him a quiet hero. No screaming, no lying, no tantrums, just truth. And that truth gutted her reputation like a fish. Now let's get real. Phillies Karen isn't just a one-off. She's joined an infamous club, the Hall of Shame. Remember the Polish CEO who snatched a hat from a kid at the US Open? Viral villain.
We had the Polish millionaire CEO who stole the hat from that kid, and now, I'm sure a lot of you have already seen the clip, we have this Karen at a Phillies game steal a baseball from a kid.
We've seen scumbag stuff like this. Look at this. The tennis player gives his hat to the kid and some douchebag grabs it. Just don't be that douchebag. Don't be that. That's my ball. That's kind of funny.
Villains. And now Karen, forever archived in the Digital Museum of Internet Clowns.
This is her and her bald husband. I know they don't even have kids. Man. Karen, I see you setting over. That's right. Yeah, at Cruella de Vil. Move over, Bartman. There's a new villain in the stands. Wanted, reward, the queen of the Karens. She's coming for the bat next.
Compilations spliced her face alongside the CEO side by side with captions like Villains of 2025 Sports. YouTubers made top 10 lists of worst fan moments, and she skyrocketed to number 1. First, a millionaire CEO steals a hat. Now this lady steals a baseball. And Karen's humiliation was cemented. Makes you think of what could be next. Maybe the Pope tackling a kid for cotton candy. ESPN analysts debated whether she should be banned from all MLB games. Sports radio hosts mocked her as the Dementor of Citizens Bank Park. Local Philly journalists noted the irony. A city that prides itself on ruthless fandom still rejected her. The father's testimony was quoted everywhere. Suddenly, his voice was the definitive record of what happened, while her screeches were replayed like blooper reels. She wasn't just a fan anymore. She was the week's main character, and no one survives that role with dignity intact. And here's where the hammer drops. Phillies Karen thought she won something. In reality, she walked away with nothing but shame. The father's silence gave her a small window to play the victim, but the moment he opened his mouth, her story collapsed like a cheap folding chair. In 2025, you can't outscream the truth. You can't gaslight video evidence, and you definitely can't bully a kid and expect the internet to forgive you. Karen thought she won a ball. What she really won was lifelong infamy. And that's the cruel irony. The boy walked away with dignity, with kindness, with something priceless from the Phillies. Karen walked away with nothing but a cursed baseball that will haunt her forever. Every time she looks at it, she won't see victory. She'll see her downfall. Because in the end, the father's voice carried more weight than all her screeching combined. His truth shredded her lies in seconds, and the internet made sure she'll never escape it. She didn't just lose the game, she lost the story. And once you lose the story, you lose everything. So now the question is yours. Should Major League Baseball step in and ban Phillies Karen for life after this meltdown? Or is the father's testimony and the internet's destruction already enough punishment? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell, because the next viral fan disaster could be right around the corner. Thanks for watching, and since you made it this far, check out some of my other videos on the top of the screen. Until next time, stay tuned, stay safe, and stay informed. Only on Tea Time with Tina.